Hello and welcome to Teccles Cake, the show that's all about talking tech and eating cake. Now this week we're going to talk all about budget handsets, or more specifically the budget handset of the moment, the Moto G 2014 or Moto G second edition.
Second gen, yeah.
Yeah. It's a great phone, mainly because it gives you quite good spec for 150 quid or just around 150 pounds. So we're going to tell you why it's the must-have smartphone on the block, why it's kind of set the benchmark for budget smartphones, and why it is the most bang for your buck smartphone on the planet.
Okay, now I've heard a lot about this phone, but I don't know many of the facts. Let's start with design, I suppose. It's the first thing you see, right?
It is. Well, I'm going to hand it to you, actually.
Okay.
What do you think of the design? What's your first impressions?
First impressions, a little bit cheap.
Yeah.
Go with that, but I guess that's the point.
It definitely does feel cheap compared to, you know, high-end flagships, but that's the beauty of this phone. It's not a high-end flagship. It's not kind of surrounded in aluminium and metal. It is plasticky, glossy. It's got a matte back.
A bit like faux leathery. Maybe.
Yeah, I quite like that though.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It does feel quite nice, and despite, you know, a lot of budget handsets, they do feel quite crap and quite rubbish in the hand. They're not sturdy. That feels quite solid. It feels good. And again, 150 quid. So, you know, it still feels quite good. And what I like as well, you can customise it.
Yeah.
This back panel is actually removable, about maybe 7 or 8 colours that you can interchange that with. So if you're feeling particularly stylish one day, you can just chop and change the colours, which I think is quite a nice touch.
Okay. What about the screen?
Now the screen, I think, is where the Moto G actually stands out. It's got a 720p screen, so the same as the 2013 model, so no upgrades, which is a little bit disappointing, but for its category, it's winning. It's definitely kind of what helps it stand above the rest.
Okay, cool.
Definitely.
So that's a good thing, but I mean, one thing I'd say is probably an expensive component in a phone would be the processor, right?
Yes.
So how's it going to perform when stacked up against one of the newer flagship phones?
Well, against the newer flagship phones, it's not going to hold its own. Do you know what I mean? But this does have a quad-core processor in it, the same processor as the last year's model, which is a little bit disappointing to people that are hoping to maybe get the upgrade. Yeah. But again, going to go back to the price point. The performance is really good. It's snippy, it's snappy. Web browsing is quite fast. You might get a few kind of trips and hiccups every now and again, but these days, what phone doesn't do that? And it's £150, so let that go.
Processor-wise, I can forgive that. But something that you can't really forgive, I'd say, is, you know, the day-to-day things. What about taking pictures, taking video, things like that?
It's got a 8-megapixel camera, up from 5 megapixels. It shoots 720p video, so it does the same as the last model, which is a bit disappointing because an 8-megapixel sensor is good enough for 1080p videos. I don't know why they didn't put that in. But, you know, it's good enough for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, that kind of thing. It's not the best camera, but again, the price. So I think it's forgivable. You can take some good photos that you can easily upload to favourite social networks, or not take a picture and think, oh, this doesn't even look like a photo. It's decent. So
that's maybe the software skimping there, you know, like not having the 1080p capability,
yep.
Even though they can. So what about other things? What about Lollipop, for example? Can it handle Lollipop?
Well, it's actually been confirmed by Motorola that this is going to get Lollipop. So that's the new Android operating system. At the minute, it's 4.4.4 KitKat. So it's the one before that.
You enjoyed saying that a little bit too much.
Yeah, I know, I did. It's my inner nerd coming out there. But it's going to get the update soon. But, you know, KitKat's still quite good. And for a lot of people who are getting a handset like this, obviously having top-end spec and the kind of best performance isn't going to be key. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that it's not got Lollipop yet. But if you want to update it when it comes, the option will be there, hopefully in the next few weeks.
You've almost convinced me. One of my biggest banes for my phone, or any like flagship phone, is battery life. Tends to be, you know, they got this like crazy screen, they've got all this like processing power.
It's constantly working, and by
constantly
3 o'clock,
draining my battery.
Dead.
Sometimes you just want your Nokia 3210 back.
Yeah, I miss my 3210.
How's it doing in that department?
Well, I would say kind of moderate use. Let's say you might go on YouTube for the equivalent of maybe a couple of hours, a few emails. It might last 2 days, but generally it's going to last you to the end of the day. This battery's really, really good. Yeah, if you're going to kind of heavily use it, you can listen to music all day, browse YouTube all day, constantly have things going. It's not going to kind of last that 2 days, but you're definitely going to make it at least towards home time. It's not going to be lunchtime and you've got to charge up. In this day and age where phones are the biggest bugbear for a lot of people is battery life, I think that's brilliant.
And it's on 2 days is a huge amount of time.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sold.
Have I convinced you yet?
Is there anything else? Anything else you want to add? Is there any other cool little features it might do, or?
Well, what I like about this, a lot of phones do this, or a lot of manufacturers, they put their own skin on top of a smartphone. It kind of makes the operating system, the Android operating system, quite buggy and slow.
Yeah,
Motorola hasn't done that. It's kind of quite a clean, vanilla Android experience, but they have chucked in some of their own apps. I'm going to mention two, which I think are quite useful. So there's Motorola Migrate. You know, you've got your iPhone or your old Android phone. You've got all your content. You don't know how to get it over to your Motorola. Simply fire that up, and you'll be able to migrate all your content over quite quick and seamlessly. So that's quite handy.
Okay,
but my favourite feature has got to be Motorola Assist. So this is almost kind of like, I don't know, it predicts your movement in a way like Google Now kind of predicts. Yeah,
creepy.
bit creepy, bit of a stalker feature. So it knows when you're driving, for example, via Bluetooth and GPS. It will know that you're in the car. So if you get a text message, it will then read the message to you. If you get a phone call, it will tell you who's calling, which I think is quite handy.
Clever.
You don't need to go in and kind of set the settings yourself. It will do it automatically. And also in the same vein that the iPhone kind of has this feature, you can, if you're in a meeting, it will silence your phone for a certain amount of time. It will do this automatically based on your calendar appointments or what's in your calendar, which I think is quite clever. You can do it manually as well, so that is quite nice.
Wonder how well it works. I've tried these things before, and they're a bit,
they're a little bit buggy,
but I like the idea of it.
So would you buy one?
I would buy one, actually. I think I would. Maybe not now, but I think I'm sold on the whole budget handset thing. That's what I think I'm in for.
Well, talking of budget, so we've got the 2013 model here, and the reason why I just want to quickly mention this is because Motorola actually revised this model and baked in 4G. This version, the 2014 version, doesn't have 4G, whereas this one now does. So if 4G is important to you, then you might not want to go for this one. And this one's going for about 120, 30 pounds now, whereas this one's about 150. So it's a little bit cheaper. So you're still getting the budget phone. These two phones are still fantastic. I guess it just depends whether you want 4G or not. And they've both now got an expandable storage slot. So you can put a micro SD slot in there for up to 32 gig, which is useful for anyone who downloads or kind of watches stuff on their phone.
Please, feel free to let us know if you think this is a good idea. You think would you buy a budget handset? Are you sold on the idea? Does it need to be a like a £600-700 phone these days to be enjoyable to use?
Exactly. Not everyone wants the bells and whistles. If you
don't,
Moto G.
Don't forget to subscribe and check back for more videos soon.